Hey, welcome back to the last installment of my comparison between Amazon Prime's Wheel of Time show and the first book, The Eye of the World. Let's jump right into the differences. Okay, so I was pretty excited that we were going to get the prologue with Lews Therin. So there is a prologue in Eye of the World, and it's very dramatic. People tend to really love it. Fans really love the prologue, but this actually is very, very different. In the actual prologue, it's a battle scene with Lews Therin and somebody else, and it's very kind of sad, and Lews Therin's going a little mad. And I'm not going to talk about specifics because I'm wondering if they're going to bring that out later and I don't want to spoil anything. But yeah, it's very different. This isn't the prologue we get with Lews Therin. I will say, though, this scene does introduce lore that is correct. Don't touch anything. But how? That is said when they originally go into the Blight in the book, but the Blight in the book is like an empty wasteland with just a few things, and it's like, don't touch anything. But here, how would you possibly not touch anything here? So none of this happens just by virtue of the fact that all the kiddos are together going to the Eye of the World in the book. Also, Loial should be with them specifically because they go into the Blight to find someone called the Green Man. And Moiraine has already found the Green Man who protects the Eye of the World before, and you're only allowed to find him once. So they think that Loial will be able to find him because he has a special connection to the Ogier. And they think he's the one that's going to be able to find him. And here's the deal. Before this show even started, before we even saw the first episode, me and a bunch of book fans talked about the fact that there was no way we were going to see the Green Man. I knew for a fact he was going to go the way of Tom Bombadil. Everyone knew it. So I'm not even that mad or sad that they cut it out. I knew that they were going to cut the Green Man out, and I can't say I disagree, but yeah, you can look him up if you're interested in the Green Man, but very Tom Bombadil energy from Lord of the Rings. Yeah, this convo doesn't happen. It is interesting how much they're deciding to focus specifically on the warder Aes Sedai bond this season. This isn't true. This doesn't happen. She gets close to Lan. That's the whole point. Lan is shook because Nynaeve can follow him. Also, this is the point he should have given her his ring. This is when it should have happened. So there should be two people here, two Forsaken, which the Forsaken aren't even really talked about in the show, I guess. And they didn't look like men right away. They were kind of wearing this mask sort of thing. But anyway, it's supposed to be Agenor and Balthamel? I don't know, whatever, who show up here. So this dream sequence isn't here in the Blight. Honestly, Rand had a ton of dreams kind of like this, but they were spread throughout the book. This is very late, and I don't think he ever kills himself to get out of one. Also, this character wasn't the one to ask him about the Heron sword. Rand is literally asked about this Heron sword everywhere he goes because people are like, how do you have a Blade Master sword? Where did you get that? And it kind of increases the mystery about Tam. So it's kind of interesting that it's here. I don't really think he's the one who would have asked Rand about his sword. I don't know. So we see Sandgirls way before this point, and I don't think Rand actually had one going into the Eye of the World. I could be wrong, but I don't think he does. You thought it'd be Egwene, didn't you? No, she didn't ever think that because, again, in the books, women can't be the Dragon Reborn. She was training Egwene because Egwene is extremely powerful in the power, and they want more Aes Sedai, and Moiraine is very impressed with her ability. This combo doesn't happen, but Lashes of Air are a thing, so it's kind of cool that they introduced that. Min isn't here in the book, so she can't have these premonitions. I don't really feel like this is how the Eye of the World looked in the book. It was located inside of a hill, and the pool of water was really crystal blue and clear and not dirty, which I think they kind of hinted at in that one scene, but I don't know, it's hard to tell. Rand doesn't see any of this vision here. Also, touching it doesn't transport him anywhere. In fact, this is actually very interesting. This sort of scene is very reminiscent of something that actually happens to Egwene in, I think it's either book 2 or 3. I can't remember which book it is. It's something that's a part of a ritual of the White Tower. I won't say more again because I try to keep these spoiler free, but yeah, this is very interesting. This is her idyllic vision that she has. But I will go on record saying I don't mind this change, and I'll talk about why later. I think it fits Rand's character more than Egwene's, to be honest. I don't think the women and the men separated out at Tarwin's Gap. I think they kind of all fought together. Okay, why would channelers be on the ground like this? It seems very unprotected. This seems like a weird choice. Anyway, also this didn't happen. Again, we know that the kiddos are all together at the Eye of the World. Also, Rand and Mat are the ones who run away together and only make it one night. Again, more Mat slander, because Mat can't do anything fun or nice. Technically, he does kind of say this stuff about remaking the world in your image and all this stuff. He tries to get Rand to go to his side, but again, it's not really in this kind of vision. It's more conjecture telling Rand what he could do. Moiraine doesn't threaten to kill Rand, and she wouldn't because she knows they desperately need the Dragon Reborn or else the world is kind of screwed. So Lord Algy definitely doesn't die here in the books. Okay. In the books, Padan Fain is actually found climbing the walls and is imprisoned and stays in prison through the rest of book 1, which we'll get to that in a moment. I feel like sharing the one power doesn't really work like this. I don't know. It's just not how I imagined it, but I guess that's not canon. I'm kind of sad they never had a scene with Rand embracing the void. That was a real thing for him. So I'm kind of surprised like they didn't at least even use this opportunity to talk about that. That's kind of how he channels and fights and focuses in the book. It's something Tam taught him. Also, Bowsy doesn't teach him to use the one power. Yeah. So the lightning thing that destroys all the Trollocs actually happens by Rand in the book when he's channeling at the Eye of the World. So he's the one who destroys them all and saves kind of the day. So I guess burning out technically can look like this. Someone does burn out in the book, one of the two guys that I mentioned previously to Ash, but usually burning out just means using and channeling so much power that you cut yourself off from the source, you sever yourself and become stilled essentially, which is like super disturbing, but you don't die like this all the time. This was so much more dramatic in the book. This was a big channeling scene in the book. Okay, this doesn't happen. These people do not die. Loial doesn't die. Uno doesn't die. Nynaeve doesn't die. Okay, so Padan Fain is in jail until book 2, and it's not until book 2 that he breaks out with a bunch of like Trollocs and Myrddraal and steals what's in the box. So this doesn't happen till later. This is different, but it does have the same vibe as the book. They're all together, right, at the Eye of the World in the novel. And so a couple of them don't realize that Rand is the Dragon Reborn. A couple of them know and a couple of them don't. But he doesn't want anyone else to know that he's the dragon, like, because it has huge consequences in the book. Like, people will want to kill you, be afraid of you because of that whole men channeling are mad. So it's a big deal. He doesn't want anyone to know he's the dragon, and he wants to leave everybody, but he's not successful at leaving the group all the way until book 3. So he has like a whole book 2 plot line that happens together with people. But although that might still happen, like, we don't really know where Rand has gone. So I won't, maybe. Moiraine is not stilled in the book. And the weird thing is, like, if she was stilled in the book, then she wouldn't be bound by the oaths anymore. Like, that's one of the things. If you get severed from the source, you're no longer bound by the oath rod. So she could lie about Rand going. So it's weird that they have the scene with her being like, he's gone, trying to be bound to her oaths because she's stilled, which is not in the book. Egwene heals death? Look, I'm sorry. This isn't even a book complaint. This is just a really, really bad example of Deus Ex Machina. What was the point of having this dramatic scene with Nynaeve if you're going to heal her in a way that makes zero, like, I'm going to be curious, how are they going to explain this? Because the one power just can't do that. Okay, this scene is clearly the Shan-Chan, but the Domine look different here. In the books, they are leashed, but they don't have like this whole mouth thing going on. It's not so dramatic there, and those holding the Domine are supposed to have like flames on their dresses, which I didn't see. Okay, I won't lie. I'm pretty upset right now. Honestly, I was vibing for the first like 3/4 of this episode. There was a lot to like. I know that Moiraine and Rand didn't go in the books together alone, but I thought it was a good choice. It kind of increased the drama. I really loved that scene between Nynaeve and Lan because those were direct quotes from the book. It was good. I even really liked this whole Loial Perrin scene about the Way of the Leaf. Yes, it wasn't in the book, but it was very to the spirit of how Perrin was in the book, and they're trying to up this conflict. So I was actually okay with a lot of that. Even the vision between Rand and Egwene, where Rand has that vision instead of her. Honestly, I think it makes more sense for him to have that sort of vision because in the books, he was always the one the most concerned with going back to the Two Rivers. He was the one who it took him the longest to let go of that dream of going back and just kind of being a farmer. Egwene very early on is like, yeah, let's go to the White Tower. Let's get going. Like, I'm ready to move on from that. And so I don't mind that they moved that. I thought it was a cool scene, but it just fizzled out. But like even moving up Padan Fain, again, a choice that makes sense. Do we lose much by losing all of that stuff that happens while he's imprisoned? No, I don't think we do. So like an easy way to speed things up. But that last quarter of this episode, I am upset. Killing Loial? Are you kidding me? This show has already paid dirt to Loial, and it's been so unfair. He hasn't gotten nearly the time of day he needs, but like killing him this early on, and even Lord Algamar and Uno, who play like such a big role. Like, what's the purpose of killing these characters? And then Egwene healing Nynaeve. How are you going to explain that? It's just such lazy writing. And in fact, I'm a little worried because Loial and Lord Algamar and Uno and all these people who aren't supposed to be dead, are they going to be like, just kidding in episode 1. We just wanted to up the drama, but actually they're not dead. It's just lazy writing, and it definitely is that, like, we just want to be a Game of Thrones wannabe. Yes, we know Game of Thrones had no problem killing all the characters. The thing is the characters stay dead. I mean, presumably, I guess I didn't watch the show, but people were very upset because characters stayed dead. When characters don't stay dead, it's a false sense of suspense. Do real suspense, because then your viewers are never going to trust you again. So it'll be very interesting what they do with that, and both decisions are poor. And then stilling Moiraine? Why? She's not stilled ever in the novels. Look, there's a spoiler. She's never stilled in the novels. So why would you put this here? What purpose is that going to serve? The only thing I can think of is there's a plot line later revolving stilling with somebody else that maybe they're going to bring forward. But I would also disagree with that because it's a major plot point in the book that is very much later in the series, and you need some build up to it. So without that, if that happens in season 2, like, where are you going in season 6? Like, there's a culmination that needs to happen. And then Rand, the Rand part at the Eye just started out so well and then completely fizzled out. That was it? Are you kidding me? Like, I thought that the women were gonna channel all this lightning and they were gonna kill that first wave and it would be so cool and they'd be on the verge of like burning out. And then they're like, we can't hold them back anymore. There's too many. And then Rand was gonna do his thing and then more lightning was gonna come out. It was gonna destroy everything. So it's like they both did it, you know? And then it was like, oh, I channeled the end. Look, you guys, I don't know if any of you watching this have seen my other videos, but I am not shy about having a feminist take on high fantasy novels. In fact, people get mad at me for it. I am not shy about talking about the lack of strong female characters. I am not shy about talking about how many adult fantasy books are sexist and objectify women, something that's really important to me. So I feel like it's a big deal for me to say that the show isn't letting its male characters have their moment. If you don't want to write a show where Rand is the main character, then don't write a Wheel of Time show. Rand is the main character, and Rand needs a main character moment. So moving this lightning moment to all the women to give the women their moment, but you can't take that from, Rand needs a moment, okay? Rand needs his moment. And that lightning scene is so cool in the book. I get them like, well, we don't want Rand to have to save the women. Well, Rand's gonna have to save people eventually. He's the dragon reborn, okay? That's the point of the novels. And I've liked a lot of changes they've made, honestly, with the female characters because I think there needed to be some changes, okay? But it doesn't mean you can take away from your literal main character. He needs to have a moment too. Rand is supposed to be the most powerful channeler. You wouldn't know it, would you? Because what has he shown to show anything that he is scary or frightening or we should be scared of Rand? Anyway, I really did like the first 3 quarters of this episode. I am very upset by the last quarter, and I wonder how they are going to turn this around in season 2. I do want to make a final video that encompasses my thoughts on the entire season, things I liked that they changed, things that I didn't think were successful, and my overall feelings about the show. But I do want to give the show another chance, and I want to rewatch the entire thing between now and that video. So I'm going to spend about the next week rewatching the show, not thinking about the book, just trying to watch it as the show, as a book reader, but not, taking notes like I have been. And then I'm going to tell you guys my overall thoughts. It's been a roller coaster, I know, watching this with me. I've had ups and downs, and I kind of want to just take the whole of that and talk about it. So you can look forward to that. I'm probably going to post that in the first week of January. So stick around at least with that. And I've got lots of more Wheel of Time content coming, including conversations between me and other varying levels of fans. So I found someone who never has read the book and watched it. I found someone who halfway through the season decided to read the book. And I have someone who wants to read the book and is a huge fantasy nerd, but is waiting just to tell me what he thought of the show as a huge fantasy book nerd in general. So lots of good stuff. Please let me know what you thought of this episode below. Were you as upset as I was about the ending? Did you like the first 3 quarters like I did? Let me know. And if you want to see other videos like this, please like and subscribe. That is the best way to support me. And if you want to see what I'm currently reading, you can check me out on Instagram at bookborn.reviews. I'll see you next time. Bye.